2 edema, personal history, COPD, AFib, prophylaxis, COPD stage 3, diabetes, stage 2. Status was flat chole, 810, gangrenous gallbladder, no angina, developed reintubated, hypotension, AKI fever, and transferred here yesterday. So, I guess for neurological wise, CT had negative yesterday, today on neuro exam, she follows. Nothing. But she's able to see these figures and breathing functions and so it's a philosophy is improving.
Definitely not consistent.
Okay. From my perspective, history COPD or meds, CT, chest, yesterday, last night showed blue bilateral effusions and possible consolidations. We may repeat an X-ray today. For fluid is likely some pulmonary edema. Cardiac fluid. From a cardiac perspective, so she's been tachycardic. She has a history of AFib. This morning she definitely looked like irregular rhythm. EKG yesterday just showed sinus tach. Sinus tach. But she's currently not on her anticoagulation due to the recent surgery. Questionable. So it looks like we ordered an echo this morning.
Yeah, I ordered it last night just to double check. We're missing something cardiac.
Okay.
Perioperative.
Okay, yeah, that goes on the 9 normal function.
So they may call on that because they can do just limited, but I want to look at RV function, LV function.
Yes. Okay. Sounds good. From a pressure standpoint, so we gave albumin last night. She's also been running 75 ml per hour of LR, and she's been norepi of 14 and stress dose steroids for pressors. She's been doing well on that.
Norepi up, down.
14. Been pretty consistent.
14. Okay. Still getting the bicarb drip.
She's still on bicarb drip. From a renal perspective, she's no longer acidotic. pH was 7.37, bicarb was 22, CO2 37. So we can stop the bicarb.
Yeah, we can just see. I would maybe just definitely check the gas later if it's bicarb. Might be normalizing that and sending the acute kidney injury.
EBG this afternoon.
Yeah, say noon, 2 o'clock, somewhere in between there.
Stop it and have a check-up.
Yeah, and just see if she can maintain. Now that maybe she's a little bit better perfused and maybe better resuscitated.
Yeah, so their LR on last night. I guess since she came here, she's positive 2 liters. They received about 3 liters during transfer. She's urine outputs average at 36 mLs per hour this morning. A little bit down on urine output, but I think she's definitely going to be resuscitated. Creatinine is also going up 2.5. So I think now the question: do we want to diurese?
I would probably just see where we're at again.
See how she does with the volume resuscitation.
We're not. Our oxygenation isn't horrible, so we have room to push fluid from a pulmonary edema standpoint.
Which is not big, just 75 mLs.
Right. And if there's ATN related to hypoperfusion, then we want to wait to see whether that'll recover. If we see the creatinine peak and then we start seeing it maybe come down, then that would be it. Or if we get to the point where creatinine continues to go up and urine output continues to fall before we would consider dialysis, then we would push for diuretics to see whether we could potentially get her to drink some urine. But, I think right now I would just kind of like status quo, see what her creatinine does, see what her urine output does, see whether her blood pressure gets better.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. So GI perspective. So I guess so likely septic shock. Currently looking for a source of infection. She was febrile before she came. So since she didn't do a gram, the question is, does she have cholangitis?
Right, so without the intraoperative cholangiogram, the question, could she have some obstruction? The ultrasound of the liver didn't, I can't remember whether that was back before he left last night.
I think the vascular study was normal, total vein thrombosis. CT showed some fluid, blood versus bile. They're favoring blood. They said recommended either hydroscan to rule out bile leak. So we could consult GI also to see what they think. If they want to do an ERCP.
Yeah, that's fine.
See what their thoughts are.
So you could order the HIDA, just to make sure we don't have a biliary leak, which could be
Okay.
causing some peritonitis. And
Yeah.
get GI on board to see whether ERCP or MRCP would be warranted.
Okay. So as far as anticoagulation, since it's a possible blood grab, and keep holding.
I put her on heparin sub-Q just for DVT prophylaxis today. We
Okay.
can hold on the full dose anticoagulation until we decide are there going to be any major procedures done or anything like that.
Okay. DVD prophylaxis. Okay, she's on cefepime and metronidazole.
Yep. Cover for anaerobes, which is
Cefepime.
reasonable. Cefepime should cover all our gram-negative and abdominal stuff for the most part.
Yeah.
So the only other option would be switch her to something like ertapenem or meropenem, which may cover more of the GI bugs with one antibiotic, but we can hold on that until cultures come back. So.
Okay.
Just gonna look at the pure stuff real quick. Culture, see if anything came back.
And the CT was questioning pancreatitis or lipase was normal. You could repeat it.
Blood cultures from peer from 810 are no growth to date. Urine culture is still pending. So to summarize that, I think GI consult, HIDA scan, continue IV fluids, DC bicarb, repeat some labs this afternoon, maybe a ABG and a BMP, see where creatinine and our lights are at off the bicarb drip.
Yep.
And then we can see what GI has to say about ERCP versus MRCP. And
Yeah. Okay.
so the short discussion is things are relatively stable from yesterday. They're not dramatically worse. Some things are a little better, some things are stable, some things are a little worse, like the kidney functions. Creatinine's risen a little bit, but she's still making urine, which is a good sign. So just got to kind of let her body calm down and heal from whatever's going on in there and continue to support it. Questions or concerns?
MRCP versus
MRI, where you go to the MRI to look at the biliary tree to
Yep.
see whether there's any stone versus
stones, yeah.
ERCP, where they would take a scope and go through down the esophagus and look that way. So
Okay.
neither one of them are maybe outstanding options just because she's on pressors to keep her blood pressure up, so she's sick enough for that. So the GI doctors may not be super excited about doing an
Yeah,
invasive procedure on her and then sending her out of the ICU with low blood pressure for an MRI for 45 minutes isn't ideal either. So
Yeah.
we'll see what the GI doctors have to say, and they may just say, well, let's just drag our feet for a while, or they may say, yeah, we got to do something. But,
Okay.
and then when they put clips around the biliary tree per se, where the gallbladder drains from the liver and the pancreas and everything come in, sometimes there can be a leak from that area, and so that sometimes can cause some inflammatory changes too. So that's what the HIDA scan is, to look and see what's going on there. So, well, that can be done right here at bedside. So.
Okay. What was the other way they look at that? The bile duct?
Oh, so they could do a cholangiogram,
That's
which they sometimes do in the operating room.
Yeah. You said you didn't think you had time.
Yeah. So that's how what the ERCP and the MRCP would help us do. They would be other ways to look through the biliary ducts to see whether there's any residual stones that could be obstructing. If I remember correctly.
You have to remove them mechanically then?
Yeah, so if the MRCP was positive, that would result in an ERCP.
Yeah.
They would go in and take that duct and open that up, and then they would put a stent in there to see if they could get that sludge debris or any stones or anything. Maybe be able to mechanically even go in and pull out a stone to get rid of some obstruction. Yes.
Because we just talked about with the ketone level.
Yep.
4.2, I don't know if you want to call it true DKA or not.
Well, so, I mean, we potentially could. I mean, there's probably a lot of reasons why she could have ketones. The problem is that she's not really a type 1 diabetic, so the likelihood of this being a true DKA is less likely. Question is could she have DKA from, or the ketones from starvation or other? I know they were quite high, but treatment for that would obviously be insulin, which we're on. So.
It looks like someone's PIC where you already start her on the
Yeah, I can't remember if I did that before I left last night, as I, was going through a charter whether they did that. But blood sugars were in the high 200s. We were adding steroids. We were adding the D5W. So I think I started Endotool before when I started the bicarb last night after ABGs came back. So I think we'll just trend her blood sugars and see whether the ketoacidosis was part of her acidosis. So the good thing is her liver tests are improving compared to yesterday. They're coming down. Bilirubin's coming down. Alk-Phos is up a little bit, but kind of variable. But that would go less against the continued obstruction there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the test shows. Any other concerns? Any pharmacy concerns?
Can we recheck her potassium when we do the repeat ABG?
Yep. We'll order a BMP to see where crap is.
Okay, awesome. And then I was just wondering, with her being hypotensive and tachycardic, do you think Neo would be a better option for her right now? To optimize hemodynamics, or?
Potentially, it's just I worry about septic shock and the need for beta and unopposed alpha. She's in sinus tachycardia. Something to definitely consider, but I don't know. I'll take a look at it. Any other concerns?
What's a HIDA scan, like medicine is doing shortage?
I'm sorry.
HIDA scan, I think I tried to order a HIDA scan earlier, but they said that we're in a shortage of meds, so would that still the issue, or?
I would have no idea.
Yeah.
That would be
If we order it and they say no, then we can talk with GI and see what the best test to order is.
Yeah, they manage the contrast and all the med stuff. So.
Nutrition on hold still.
Yeah.
We'll wait to see what IDA and everything shows.
As I say, I think you just want to wait off until
Yeah.
GI.
Yeah, but I think if GI says she can undergo a scope or doesn't need a scope or anything like that, and the height is done and she doesn't have to be NPO, then we can start some trophic feeds on her and see how she tolerates it.
Okay, I'll just check back with them.
Okay. Anything from anybody else? All right, well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you guys
Yeah, for
very
sure.
much.